This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here at the Redhook Winery in Redhook, Brooklyn, New York City with winemaker Chris Nicholson and cellarmaster Darren Pallas. How are you today, gentlemen?
Very well.
Now, tell me a little bit about the winery. I came here today in a cab and was actually a little bit scared to get out of the cab because we're in the area of Redhook, which has some quite interesting history. And I wasn't sure I was in the right place. And for many people, the idea of having a winery in a kind of industrial area in a city such as New York will be a little bit strange. Would you mind explaining a little bit behind the whole story of the winery?
Great. The winery was started in August of 2008. The idea is to work with New York State fruit, nearly all fruit from the North Fork of Long Island, which is the growing region local to Brooklyn. There are two senior winemakers in the project, Abe Schoener and Robert Foley. And they spend quite a bit of time here. Both of them are based in California, but they're here often visiting the project and looking at the vinifications and the fermentations and the agings and the fruit. And Darren and I work together here to take care of the wine and make it and learn about it.
Very true. Learn about it. Make sure that it's palatable for everybody else.
Now, why Redhook, New York City?
Well, I think Mark who's the managing member, and he is Brooklyn's son, we like to call him. Grew up in the area and has a fond love for where he's from. So he kind of wanted to do something for the community down here. He had an office down here many years, and he wanted to do something for the community and express his love for wine. And what better way to do it than get two of his friends together, Bob and Abe, and try and work with local grapes and keep it as local as he could possibly think. So he found the space down here and started in, like you said, August in 08.
Now, what kind of wines do you make here at Redhook?
We make all sorts of wines, but mostly dry wine, and we make white and red. So we have Chardonnays, Sauvignon Blancs, Pinot Blancs, and Riesling, which we do source from the North Fork of Long Island.
It's a single non-North Fork.
From the Finger Lakes, yes. And it is a single non-North Fork varietal. But Merlots, Cab Francs, Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, and many of the varietals you'd expect from the North Fork from Long Island.
Now, with your two winemakers, Abe and Rob, would you mind explaining where they come from for viewers who don't know, and their different winemaking philosophies?
Great. So the two senior winemakers in the project, again, Robert Foley and Abe Schoener, both have very unique and strong ideas of winemaking. We might talk about Mr. Foley being more conventional, classical winemaker. He's well regarded by the American wine press as well as the American wine drinking public for very powerful, kind of muscular Californian reds. Abe Schoener, the other senior winemaker, is kind of an outsider winemaker, kind of an avant-garde winemaker, and he's also well regarded by his followers and drinkers. Perhaps he's more well known for his interesting white wines, sourced from various small vineyards in Northern California.
Now, working with two senior winemakers, for both the cellar master and the winemaker, both Chris and Darren, is it difficult because you're working with the same lots that come in from Long Island, and then you have to separate them and then separate them again in some cases and vinify them in different ways? That's a lot of work for a small winery in Redhook.
Yeah. I would think it would be a lot of work for any winery, but yes, especially one that's an urban winery and doesn't have the luxury of having a lot of space. But we seem to make it work. And we have a great on-site winemaker, and we get some help from local sommeliers and other people who are in the neighborhood and in the city. And it's something we've talked about and maybe cutting back on it, but we'll try to be true to varietal and vineyard as possible. And because we source food and we have the two winemakers, we are unfortunately or fortunately going to have a lot of work on our hands, and it's just the way it should be for us, because we want to experiment, we want to see what's going to work best, and the only way to do it is to have many lots of wine.
Now, you were mentioning that at some points last year during vintage you had how many ferments going on at the same time?
30,
or how many lots?
38 fermentations at one time. Yeah.
That's very exciting. Now, with regards to the wines of New York State, how do you feel they have evolved over the last, say, 20, 15, 10 years? Even 2 years, shall we say?
I feel like we're certainly newcomers to the region, both from a winemaking perspective and a wine growing perspective. And we're so excited to have the chance to work with fruit from the region and work with farmers from the region and learn about the struggles that they encounter. The North Fork of Long Island is an extremely challenging region to grow in. It's very humid weather and often warm, and warmth and humidity can be terrible enemies of delicate grape skins, and it's exciting to learn about the strategies that growers have had to implement to protect their fruit and to grow the best fruit possible. I think it's interesting that over the past couple of years, maybe particularly, as Jamie mentioned, the past 2 years, there's been an increased and kind of focused interest amongst New York City restaurants in wines from their region.
Do you link that in any way to the whole movement towards eating and drinking locally?
I think that's true. I think that's probably an overarchingly important component of it. A trend and an interest toward local foods. We hope that we can coincide our winemaking work here with that interest and not just ride the crest of the wave of interest in local wines and locally produced food goods, but make wines that are truly interesting both in and outside of the region.
Now, with regards to the distribution of Redhook wines, if people were interested in trying out your wines, where should they be going?
Here in our area, see on the North Fork of Long Island, Amagansett Wines and Spirits is a great place to buy the wines. The wines are available there. In Brooklyn, there's the Brooklyn Wine Exchange and Smith & Vine. And then in Manhattan, Union Square Wines has been a long time supporter of the project. They have a fair number of the wines.
And do many restaurants take your wines?
We're really fortunate and flattered and excited that a number of restaurants in both Manhattan and Brooklyn have been interested to carry the wine.
Yeah. As far as restaurants, we have our wines at Lore, we have our wines at Maria, we have our wines at Milos. I mean, there's many other places, and we're just
all of David Chang's Momofuku restaurants.
Oh, right, excellent.
Yes. And we like to keep the distribution nice and small, and we have a small company. The partner owner has his distribution company. It's called Angel Share. And, we like to keep it close and family-like. And we also will have a website.
I was about to say, when can we accept a full working website?
In the next month or so.
2015.
2015,
Yeah.
okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for spending some time with us today at Good Food Revolution. Thank you for a wonderful barrel tasting. We look forward to catching up with you the next time we're down here in New York or you're up in Toronto.
Thank you,
Jamie.
Jamie.
Look forward to it.
Keep it Canada.
Take care.